Have you ever felt this pull, towards the unknown? Like there's this secret language
Yeah.
hidden in everything, symbols and patterns, and like it's all connected somehow, just deeper than we can usually see.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, today we are diving into a system that speaks that language,
Mm.
the Kabbalah.
Yeah.
And to guide us, well, we've got an expert in all things mystical. I'm so glad you're here.
Happy to be here.
Now, I got to be honest, the Kabbalah has always intrigued me, but it's also felt a bit, like a labyrinth. I'm always worried I'm going to get lost in there.
I get that. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially when something's been shrouded in as much, well, mystery, frankly, as the Kabbalah. A lot of folks, they hear Kabbalah, they think it's purely Jewish mysticism.
Right.
But the roots go way deeper. We're talking ancient Egypt, Greece, traditions that make you wonder, how did they know that? It's wild.
So it's more like a universal language
Yeah.
than something specific to one culture.
Precisely. And here's where it gets even wilder, honestly. The Kabbalah, it doesn't fit neatly into that box of strict monotheism.
Okay.
It's henotheistic, meaning it recognizes a single ultimate source, but, and this is key, it acknowledges other deities as expressions of that source.
Okay.
Like imagine a diamond. All those facets, they reflect the same light, just in different ways.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense, actually. It explains why I feel like I keep seeing it pop up in so many different philosophies, practices. Speaking of reflections, we have to talk about the Tree of Life. It's such a powerful image, but I'll be honest, I've struggled to get beyond just the image. Is it an actual tree? A metaphor? Or something else entirely?
It's definitely not something you're going to trip over in the forest.
Okay.
Think of it more like a cosmic blueprint, a map. But it doesn't just chart the universe out there, it also maps the hidden universe, the one inside each of us.
Why?
The macrocosm and the microcosm perfectly mirrored.
Okay. So I'm picturing a blueprint, a cosmic blueprint, but what am I looking at? Paint me a picture here.
All right, imagine 10 spheres called Sephiroth, all interconnected, like a network. Each sephira, it's a different aspect of creation. We're talking like the most ethereal realms all the way down to the physical world, the nitty-gritty.
So you're saying I have a miniature Tree of Life inside me right now.
Exactly. That's the thing about the Kabbalah.
That's a lot.
It goes from this ancient system to like this deeply personal journey, It's about realizing the potential, the forces within us, and learning to work with them, not just hear about them.
Okay, this is already making my head spin with possibilities. Now, I know we're going to get into this more deeply, but this idea of four worlds, are we talking about physical realms, states of being? Help me wrap my head around this.
It's a natural question, but hold on to your hats,
Right.
because the way Rankine explains it in the book, it's brilliant.
Okay.
Imagine a single grain of sand. Simple enough, right?
Okay, a grain of sand. I'm with you.
That grain of sand, ordinary as it seems, it actually exists on multiple levels all at the same time.
Okay.
On the most basic level, what he calls a saya, it's just that, a grain of sand. Zoom in closer, though, the Yetzirah level, you see its chemical makeup. Deeper still, Briah, and we're talking atomic structure, the very building blocks. But then, the highest level, Atziluth, that's where you encounter the pure energy potential, where it all began.
So like that grain of sand is a whole universe. It contains everything.
Exactly. And just like that grain of sand, you, me, this microphone, we exist on all those levels all at once. The Kabbalah, it just gives us the framework to navigate it all.
Okay. My mind, it's officially blown. But I have to admit, all these Sephiroth, with their names and attributes, it's a lot. Is there a way to approach them without, getting lost in the weeds?
Absolutely. We don't need to memorize an encyclopedia to understand the language of the Tree of Life, right?
Right.
Let's focus on a few key Sephiroth, just to get a feel for their essence.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Where do we begin?
Let's start at the very foundation, shall we? Malkuth, the kingdom. Now, this isn't just the everyday world with its traffic jams and bills. Think of it more like the Garden of Eden.
Ah, okay.
The ideal state of the material world.
Okay, so like the perfect version of Earth, before things went a bit sideways.
You got it. And then we have Yesod, the foundation. This is where things get really interesting. We're talking about the unconscious, the world of dreams, intuition, all those whispers beneath the surface.
So if Malkuth is the garden, Yesod is the rich soil it grows from.
Perfect analogy. And Rankine really emphasizes how vital it is to tend to that inner garden, to find balance in Yesod before we can even think about, going further up the tree.
Makes sense. You can't build a skyscraper on unstable ground, right?
Exactly.
So, which Sephira calls to you. What's next on our climb?
Let's journey to Tifereth.
Think of a sphere of beauty and harmony.
All right.
This is where we connect with our true will, our purpose, and we discover it's not separate from the divine will at all. It's like this aha moment when you realize your path, it's in perfect alignment with everything.
Okay, that's a concept I can get behind.
Yeah.
So it's not just about figuring out my own little plan, it's about tapping into something much bigger.
Exactly. And to make it even more fascinating, this is where we get into this whole concept of the 5 atoms.
5 atoms.
It's like the tree of life isn't just mapping out the universe, it's mapping out the potential inside each of us. Each atom is like a different level we can reach, a stage in our journey back to that perfect harmony, embodying the Yitzhak atom who existed in the garden before, well,
Before the apple. So climbing the tree of life, it's like a homecoming. That's a beautiful way to put it. And along the way, of course, we encounter forces that can help or hinder that progress, both within and, well, a little outside ourselves, too.
You're talking about angels, right? I have to admit, when I think angel, I get a very, Hallmark card image in my head.
Right.
What role do they actually play in the Qabalah?
They're not granting wishes, I'll tell you that.
Okay, good to know.
Think of the archangels more like specialized forces, each one governing a particular sephira and its unique energy.
So less like personal assistants, more like cosmic principles we can work with.
Exactly. For example, Michael, he's associated with Sephiroth.
Okay.
He's often shown with a flaming sword, which can be a bit intense, I know.
Yeah.
But he represents the righteous use of power, protection, achieving goals that are in alignment with, with the divine will.
So it's more about inner strength than not just, fighting battles.
Exactly. But what about the flip side? What about those, maybe not so benevolent forces?
Right. You're going to tell me about the demonic forces lurking in the Tree of Life now, aren't you?
Ah, yes, the Qliphoth. They often get painted as purely demonic, but it's more accurate to see them as the shadows, the unbalanced aspects of each sephira.
Okay.
Like anything in life, too much of a good thing can throw things off balance.
So it's not so much good versus evil as finding that sweet spot.
Now you're getting it. You need darkness to perceive light, right?
Right.
But if you only focus on the darkness, you miss the light entirely. The Qliphoth, they remind us every force has its shadow side. And understanding both, that's key.
This is incredibly fascinating, but it makes me wonder, how do we actually use this, the Tree of Life, I mean? Is it contemplation, meditation, or are there specific things we can do? Practices.
The cool thing about the Qabalah is that it's both a map and a journey.
Okay.
And yes, there are definitely techniques to work with its energy. One example, path working. This involves guided meditations where you journey through the tree, you visit each sephira's temple.
So like an inner pilgrimage, guided by the map itself.
Precisely.
I like it.
And then you have what's called vibratory formula. This uses divine names to connect with it's almost like a frequency of each sphere.
So we're talking about like the energy behind the word itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just chanting for the sake of it. You're feeling the vibration of those names resonate. And for those who like a more physical practice, there's the lightning flash.
Yeah.
You imagine your body as the tree of life, drawing energy up, connecting you to, everything.
These all sound incredibly powerful, but where do we even begin?
You've already taken the first step by engaging with these ideas, by exploring.
Right.
From here, it's about going deeper into the Sephiroth, the practices that call to you.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing?
Definitely not. It's about forging your own connection, your own path.
This has been so eye-opening already. I feel like I'm actually starting to grasp the depth of the Qabalah. What else would you recommend for someone who wants to keep going with this?
Well, Rankine's book is a great place to start, of course. Climbing the Tree of Life. I'd say revisit the sections on the Sephiroth that really resonated with you. And honestly, don't underestimate journaling, creating your own visual representation of the tree, meditating on the symbols.
So it's about finding those touch points, the things that make it click for you.
Exactly. It's your journey. The Tree of Life, it's a lifelong exploration. The deeper you dive, the more it reveals.
It's funny how we're always looking for answers out there in these ancient texts, these mystical systems, when sometimes the most profound truths are right under our feet.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
Which is what we're exploring today as we descend into Malkuth, the kingdom, the bedrock of the Tree of Life, right?
It's true. We forget we're part of this incredible system. But yeah, Malkuth, it's not just about rocks and trees, the physical stuff. It's the ideal state of the material world, like the Garden of Eden Before.
Well, before the Apple incident.
Exactly.
Right. So how does Rankine describe it, this idealized version?
Oh, he actually paints a very vivid picture. He describes Malkuth as a circle divided into four, like a pie chart almost, by this X.
Okay.
Each quarter represents an element: earth, air, fire, and water.
Ah, like a compass, guiding us towards balance.
Exactly. And right at the center, where those lines intersect, that's where we find ourselves. Not separate from it all, but part of it, woven in.
It's like that saying, we are stardust, but like even more grounded. Literally.
Yeah.
So how do we connect with Malkuth in our everyday lives? Do I have to go live in a treehouse and eat berries?
Well, hey, a little nature retreat never hurt anyone, right?
Oh,
But it's not about escaping to the wilderness. It's about being present here in the physical world. Feel the warmth of the sun, the wind, the ground beneath your feet. That's Malkuth, whispering its secrets.
it's about finding that magic in the mundane. We get so caught up in our heads, in the digital world, we forget to just be in our bodies in this amazing world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's why grounding is so essential, and Rankine talks about that a lot. Strengthening our connection to Malkuth, to the earth. Because without that solid foundation, you can't climb the tree, right?
You can't run before you can walk.
Exactly.
Malkuth is that ground we walk on,
Yes.
the beginning. Now, what about the forces at play in this realm? Which archangel governs this earthly paradise?
Ah, that would be Sandalphon.
Sandalphon. Okay.
Now, if you thought some angel depictions were a lot, picture this. Sandalphon is often depicted as this towering figure, feet on the earth, head reaching the heavens,
Wow.
embodying that connection between the material and the spiritual.
The bridge between worlds.
Exactly. And then you have the angels of Malkuth, the Ashim. Imagine, like tiny little flames dancing. Each one a spark of the divine hidden within the physical.
It really makes you look for the miracles in the everyday, doesn't it?
Right. It's all about perspective. Now, there are actually a few other interesting things about Malkuth we should touch on.
Okay, I'm all ears.
It has all these intriguing titles. They add these layers to its meaning. For instance, it's called the gate because it's the entry point to the rest of the tree, that initial spark.
The doorway.
Yes, like it.
It's also known as, get this, the bride,
The bride.
representing the feminine principle,
Okay.
which, when united with the masculine principle of Kether, creates that balance, that spark of creation.
So it's not just about grounding, it's about potential, that union of opposites.
Yes, and there's one more. Okay, hit me.
Malkuth is also known as the hidden stone.
The hidden stone. So we're going on a treasure hunt now.
Not exactly, though it sounds exciting.
Yeah.
It's not about a literal stone buried in the ground. It's more symbolic. This hidden stone, it references the Philosopher's Stone, the ultimate goal of the alchemists.
Right.
Transformation, enlightenment. But it's also a reminder that the divine spark, the key to it all, isn't off in some faraway place. It's right here, hidden in plain sight.
The kingdom of God is within you.
Exactly.
It's so easy to get caught up looking outside for the answers.
right.
But the real journey, it's internal.
It's all about going within. And that actually brings us to the practical side of Malkuth. If we want to tap into that potential to ground ourselves, what are the tools?
Well, he talks a lot about the magic circle, right? Which is a pretty key tool in ceremonial magic in general. But it's also a powerful representation of Malkuth, right?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like this sacred space, a microcosm of Malkuth, where you can work with the elements, the energies of the earth, connect with the divine all around.
And you don't need a fancy robe or room full of crystals to do it.
No, not at all. Remember, Malkuth is about simplicity, connecting with nature. Walk barefoot on the grass, feel it between your toes, plant something, watch it grow. Really look at a sunset, see how the light plays on the water. Those are all ways to ground ourselves, to connect with that Malkuth energy.
It's about mindfulness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bringing our awareness to the present moment.
Yes. It's about rediscovering that awe and wonder.
Which, speaking of, I am ready to journey to that inner world. Lead the way to Yesod, the realm of dreams and shadows.
Oh, things are about to get interesting.
A little nervous, I'm not going to lie.
It's okay. It's natural to feel that way.
It's like going into a labyrinth, blindfolded.
But remember, the labyrinth itself can be a powerful teacher.
That's true.
And Yesod, it's a realm of immense creative potential.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Intuition, those hidden depths within us.
All right, walk me through this. What makes Yesod so unique?
If Malkuth is the solid ground, Yesod is the fertile soil underneath.
Okay.
It's the realm of imagination where those lines between conscious and unconscious, they blur.
So not just our personal subconscious, but something bigger. something that connects us all.
Exactly. And this is where the moon comes in. The moon governs Yesod. Think about it. The moon, it has those cycles, waxing and waning.
Right, right.
Reflecting our emotions, those hidden tides. Just like the moon pulls the tides, our unconscious, it influences our thoughts, feelings, actions.
I've always been drawn to the moon. There's something so mysterious, a little bit unnerving about it.
Which is perfect because that is the energy of Yesod. It's duality. It's confronting our shadows, the parts of ourselves we'd rather not look at.
So it's not all, sunshine and roses in Yesod.
Not exactly. Remember the Qlifoth.
Oh, right, right.
They're especially active in Yesod, reminding us that, well, you need the darkness to see the light. Facing those shadows, that's part of it all.
So navigating this realm, it takes courage, willingness to face those parts of ourselves. What about the Archangel associated with Yesod? Okay, so we've explored the Garden of Malkuth. We've delved into the shadowy depths of Yesod. Honestly, part of me wants to take a nap after all that. But I have a feeling ascending to Sephiroth, the sphere of beauty and harmony, this is going to be less like, spelunking in a cave and more like stepping into the sunshine. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to put it. If Malkuth is the earth and Yesod the moonlit depths, then yeah, Sephiroth, that's the sun, radiating warmth, light, all throughout the tree.
Okay. I'm already feeling more balanced just thinking about it.
Right.
So how does that radiant energy, how does that play out? What's so special about Sephiroth's place in all of this?
Remember how we talked about finding our true will? That purpose that feels bigger than us.
Right, right.
That's Sephiroth.
Okay.
It's realizing our individual will. It's not separate from the divine will. It's all part of the same tapestry.
So it's not just my to-do list, it's lining up with a cosmic to-do list in a way.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is, when we tap into that, when we surrender to that true purpose, it brings this incredible sense of peace, of harmony, and not just within ourselves, but with everything around us.
Okay, I'm definitely feeling the allure of Sephiroth now. Yeah. Now, the Archangel associated with Sephiroth, that's Magickal, right?
That's right, yeah.
But he's often depicted as, well, a warrior.
Yeah.
Which seems a little counterintuitive for a realm of harmony, doesn't it?
It's true. He's often shown with the flaming sword.
Right.
But remember, strength without compassion, that's just brute force.
Right.
Magickal embodies the righteous use of power, the courage to stand up for what's right, to protect, to guide, not to dominate.
So it's like that idea in martial arts where you use your opponent's force against them.
Yes.
Strength through yielding.
Yes, Magickal. As the Archangel of Sephiroth, he represents that perfect balance between Geburah, the sphere of strength and discipline, and cheesed compassion, mercy.
That makes so much sense.
He's not just a warrior, he's a guardian. A protector, guiding us towards our highest potential.
And what about the other angels associated with Sephiroth? Are they as, well, shall we say, intimidating as Magickal with his flaming sword?
Not quite. The angels of Sephiroth, the Malachim, they're often described as like radiant beings, kings and queens of light, reflecting that divine majesty of Sephiroth.
Okay, I like that image much better, I have to say.
Right.
All this talk of swords and battles, it was making me a little,
Understandable.
So if Malkuth is the garden, and Yesod the moonlit sea, what metaphor does Rankine use for Sephiroth?
He uses the image of the sun.
Ah.
Which makes sense when you think about Sephiroth's place on the tree. It's often called the sun, the emanation of the divine father, Chokmah, and the divine mother, Baina.
So it's like this perfect synthesis of masculine and feminine energy, those polarities, coming together to create something new.
Precisely. It's also known as the beauty of God.
Wow.
Which says a lot about this sphere,
It
right?
says.
It's about recognizing that divine spark within us and in everything around us.
It's like, when you see those nature documentaries and they zoom in on a snowflake or a flower petal and you see those incredible patterns?
Yes.
That's what I think of as that Sephiroth energy.
I love that. And it shows Sephiroth isn't some abstract concept.
Right.
It's for all of us in every single moment. Which brings us to the practical side of things.
All right, let's get practical.
How do we actually connect with this radiant energy?
Right, because we've talked about this true will, this purpose, but how do we actually find it?
Yeah. There's no cosmic instruction manual that just falls out of the sky.
Right.
But there are definitely practices that can help us tune in.
Okay.
Meditation, for one. It can quiet the noise of the world and let us actually hear that inner voice, those nudges.
So it's not about emptying our minds. It's more about making space.
Exactly. And never underestimate spending time in nature. Remember, The sun, that's the celestial body associated with Sephiroth, that energy is incredibly potent.
I'm all for a little sunbathing. Anything else?
Absolutely. Forgiveness, holding on to anger, resentment that just blocks the flow of love, of harmony within us and in our relationships.
Easier said than done sometimes. Any advice for those of us who struggle with that?
Start small. Forgive yourself for any perceived shortcomings, mistakes. We're all works in progress, right?
Right.
And as you practice self-forgiveness, it becomes easier to extend it to others.
It's true. Hurt people, right?
It's a cycle, and we can choose to break it.
So true.
And finally, gratitude.
Oh yeah, gratitude, that's a big one.
Focusing on what we're grateful for, it shifts everything.
It really jumps.
We start to see the beauty, the abundance that's already there.
It's like that thing, counting your blessings. It sounds so simple, but
Yeah.
it's easy to forget.
It is. It's so easy to get caught up in the negative and what's wrong.
Yeah.
But even when things are tough, there's always something to be grateful for.
Even if it's just, having air to breathe,
Exactly.
food on the table.
Gratitude is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
I love that. Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. Really, truly, I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the Kabbalah.
I'm so glad.
Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up?
Remember, the tree of life, it's a map, but it's a map for your journey. Explore it, experiment, and most importantly, trust your intuition. The answers you seek, they're already within you.
That is beautifully said. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the mystical world of the Kabbalah. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep climbing your own tree of life.